Hi friends. I wanted to let you know that when I have it too bright here, it's often more a case of me playing with the controls on the camera than it is that the lighting is so bright. Although, I know it could be better. It's just not my strength right now. All right, I have no idea what I am here to share, if anything. So, what's new? There is something new that's in the works. I don't recall any particular incarnations, other ones, that are scientists, but I know they must be there. This heart has a true and a very deep love and respect for science, not necessarily as it's manifest today, but just for what it is. And so, let me look at this. I'm not going to share this with you now. It isn't ready. But so far it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 links. And I'm just going to let a heart show me if that's appropriate, or if that's something that it might morph into, a parts 1, 2, and 3 or something. I don't want to be overwhelming, but there seems to be a vision inside that's coming forward so that it can be enunciated of what I see as the best and the highest of science. Well, maybe that's what this is, part 1. Let's see. I will be bringing to your attention 2 scientists from India, days of yore, and holding them up as what science is and can be. We have many things where our textbooks in the West are knowingly incorrect. As a simple, for instance, that most of you are aware of, fireworks and gunpowder and so on were invented in China. But somehow, we in the West are able to completely ignore that, and not until a WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant or Catholic, discovers it, does it count. That's obscene to me. I mean, that totally violates what science is supposed to be, which is a search for truth and an exposition of what is true. And when they start out by lying, these lies of omission are vulgar. And there's such an arrogance to it because the rest of the world knows a lot more. They don't necessarily know everything. I'm not saying that, but people in India, people in China certainly must see this and laugh at our immaturity. And so there's a vision I'd like to bring forth. Now, I may well butcher the pronunciation of the name, but my favorite so far has been Jagadis Chandra Bose. And he got, I believe, a whole chapter in Yogananda's Autobiography of a Yogi, and I will link you to that so that you can see true greatness. The discoveries of this man are so many. So many things. He invented machinery. He didn't have the money. And so he put things together himself. And so, just as an aside, in the things that he invented that enabled the furthering of science, much less the science that he pursued, which was great, he could have had any number of patents and made wealth. And he said no. He refused to patent anything and made it available to the whole country, to the whole world. Why is he not in every science book in America? Why do we not know this great man's name? Beautiful soul, for the good of humanity. See, this we find in India, one could say a hotbed for, no, it's not right, it's not a hotbed for philosophy. It's a country that is totally unafraid of being spiritual. And until recent history, philosophy and science, or spirituality and science, were content to walk hand in hand, as they do in this man. And so I think it's quite natural that from a country like India, we should find, Kismet, honey, it's okay, we should find this arising. We are one family as mankind, man and womankind, and childkind. And just not everyone is awake to this yet, to realize that we're better together than we are apart. There's been tremendous effort put into separating us out from each other and from any kind of wholeness whatsoever, and thus you have within science and medicine this extreme specialization, which could perhaps be okay if it was in a milieu where there was sharing, interaction, and integration. But that totally lacks. And so a lot of the genius discoveries that come up are because someone has combined two areas of specialization, two realms of study in a unique way. There is so much to be had in the joining together, which is, I believe, the signature of the new day that's dawning, that's on us here. And so there is another, when I was looking for Chandra Bose, I ran across another great scientist from India. Okay, I haven't got that link here yet, and I have forgotten his name, but it's another one who has the good of all life at heart. And these are masters of service, you know. They live their lives in worship of truth and justice and wonderful things. And I believe that we should know of them, know about them. And so I will provide some links. And that just as an intro to the vision that I would share. There is so much more. But I've got a transcript written already, and I don't want to be repeating myself. So I'll let this small intro suffice for that topic. Or will I? I mean, you know. Heart guides here. I'm still very much enjoying myself. feeling lighter. I've withdrawn a wee bit. I'll tell you about a product which I think is pretty cool. I mean, I stand to gain nothing in the sharing. It's not that I'm marketing this, but it's called Waoria, and I might even be pronouncing that wrong. Waoria. It comes in little tiny plastic, well, I guess they're about that big, plastic bottles, and you take it a drop at a time. And I no longer know what the recommended dosage is, because if I take that, you won't hear from me for a month. And so, now if you're in good health, I mean, everybody is different, okay? But it is, the reason I take it, I don't know, it may do other things. Memory and I are not, not walking hand in hand just yet. For purging and cleansing of heavy metals from the body. And we all have them. And purity is nice. But I tried. I thought, oh, I'm doing so much better. And I started taking it again, and I thought, well, I'll take 1 drop a day. Kicked my butt. So I'm taking 1 drop every 2 days. Every other day. Whatever I feel like. It's amazing stuff, but as I've shared before, when I'm purging or cleansing or having a DNA upgrade, whatever's going on with me, if it's intense, it ups the pain that I experience, and it tends to make the body need like 12 hours of sleep a night, which, I mean, I don't really mind, but I also don't get much done. So moderation is a really, really good thing. All things in moderation. I believe that was a motto for the ancient Greeks. There was such wisdom came from Greece, as is stunning and amazing and a worthy tribute to last down through the centuries and the millennia. Truly beautiful. Let us have a blooming. They had a blooming of wisdom. My hope is that we shall have a blooming of heart, and when I say heart, it's with that capital H, and so it's multidimensional, and it's the whole of us. There is so much within each of us that we have been taught not to see, not to know, not to acknowledge. And so we don't. Not realizing, not having been told from when we were tiny that we are creators. Creators of this reality of, it's a joint creation too. And so it needs to be, for there to be sufficient consistency in it. And so, if somebody visualizes the lines on the highway differently, it could lead to some really negative consequences. So, there's a togetherness in it, but we're also creators of our own individual experience. And don't think that those around you have the same reality that you do. That's a mistake. Our reality is indeed different, and it is not controlled by anything external. Those are occurrences. They come and go. They're not in control of you. Or everyone who saw an accident would feel the same way. Everyone who had a particular experience would respond to it the same way if the experience itself had the power of control. It does not. A lot of us would like to control those experiences right out of existence. I would say that's a bit lacking in wisdom and vision. Yeah, it'd feel great, but we're not necessarily here to feel great. In a way, we are. It gets hard to talk at a certain point, because everything is true in its own way. And to each of us, what we believe is what controls in our life. And if we don't believe it, it won't work for us. I think this is behind Jesus, or the Bible's teaching. I don't know if it was Jesus, about saying, if you tell this mountain to move hither, it will, if you have sufficient faith. Well, faith is a word, okay? Words don't come down to us from antiquity with their true meaning. When I studied for my English degree, I learned that maybe it was in olden times, but the word nice in England and in France, on the continent as they called it, indicated a streetwalker type thing. And of course the word nice here today certainly doesn't mean that. Look what happened to the word gay. It was a light and an airy and a feathery and a joyful kind of a thing, and now it has been so firmly branded onto a sexual lifestyle that it's lost that, which isn't to say anything against that sexual lifestyle. I'm just saying that we can know all the words, but not have the meaning that was intended. And it pays to be on the watch for that. I find reading things from heart a very beautiful exercise that often alerts me to things. And being humble, too. I mean, when we think we know stuff is when we get in our own way. Life is so strange, so unutterably strange. Backwards, like Nancy Dennison says, Everything here seems to be almost like a mirror image, a backwards reflection of what is. We think things are solid. They're not. How can empty atoms make up solid anything? They can't. I guess it's a little bit like cotton candy, It looks huge, and it comes down to this little tiny piece of substance that, if it was all compressed. So it has an appearance that gives the lie to what it is, which is fine as long as we don't think when we're looking at something that we know what it is. I mean, I like living this way. To me, I call this being open. And that way, if universe wants to commune with me or share something with me, I'm at least attentive. Not saying I'll agree with what I'm shown or understand it right off, but understanding is highly overrated, I have found. And that is so not something that I can even believe that I'm saying, When you search for something with all your heart and with all your might, and, pick up numerous degrees along the way, only to come to find out it's not that it's all nothing. It has a value. But I don't think it's wise to overestimate its value. The value may well be an internal one in the experience and in the interactions had along the way, and what that teaches us. And it's so grand that we all have this inner tuition, this inner teacher, the still small voice, if you will. It's so grand. My desire is to integrate more and more with the other near dimensions, and the light beings there, you know, our guides, our angels, whatever you want to call them, our soul family, our friends of old. It was this way in days long past. They might have called the other beings gods for their technology and their abilities and so on. I don't have an opinion about that. I mean, I don't call them gods any more than I call us all gods. I mean, we are that. But there's a waking up to be done here that we're in the midst of. And it's important. Things are separating out. There's the harvest. The wheat and the chaff are being sorted out, and that's too dualistic. I heard Cavassalis lay it out one time, I think, as 3 different paths that were options for everyone. And remember, you create your own reality. So you're in the midst of creating which of these or which of whatever's available is your choice. So take responsibility for your life, you know, catch up with yourself. Yourself is way ahead of you, chances are. Anyway, he said that there would be the one we know about, the kind of the wheat from the chaff thing, you know, people, and they're all equally gods. We're just perhaps measuring the extent that we're aware of that. To me, folks, there is no evil. There is ignorance. That's just me. You see it your way, but I thought I'd share that. Okay, so he said that there would be one path for those who just aren't ready for this ascension thing yet. They desire or require more 3D experiences, and they will get that. And it will be their joy. This is what is quote-unquote right for them. It's the best fit. And so they will, however they get there, wind up incarnating on another 3D planet. It's all just a theory, you know that, right? Don't take any of this too seriously. It's my humble opinion at this point that Earth is going with us up into the higher densities. And so, if that's correct, she wouldn't be available for more future 3D experiences. I could be wrong. And then he laid out the path of those who are in process of ascending. According to Alex Collier, the Andromedans don't call it that, but they say it goes on all the time, all over cosmos. They even have a committee of sorts, only they call it upliftment. It's just movement. When we get to that mass readiness to take the next drastic step, you know, when the threshold is reached so that the civilization can move on. And so there are those who are ready for that. I feel strongly that some will ascend into this and take the body along. Our bodies are going through a lot of changes right now, in case some maybe haven't tuned into that, haven't noticed. I know that bodies that are in ill health are more sensitive to such things. I mean, there was a lot I wasn't tuned into until the cancer years ago sat me down on my butt and said, "You will sit. Furthermore, you will lay, and you will do it for a good while." And so, with the help of such a catalyst, we tune into other things because the things that we were being and doing before are not available anymore. It's not a bad thing. I don't believe in bad things. I don't believe in the existence of bad. It's good, better, and best, And I don't even know about good, better, and best. It's just all wonderful. It's a cosmos built of and on and in love. So how can anything be bad or evil or whatever? Okay, so that's 2. Now for the third, George laid out a technological path. And to me, that's a bit of a scary one. That's going down some pretty dark highways and byways, seeking this human biotechnic immortality. We're already immortal. So to me, it's just nuts. However, them that want it get to go that way if that's the way they want. I just don't want to be on the same earth with them. Methinks there will be dark consequences ahead, and things that once you've totally changed your genetics and your biology over, how can you undo that? Once you've downloaded your consciousness onto a disk or a chip or whatever it is, and then I don't know. I don't even want to think along those lines. But I know the people who pursue it are in deadly earnest. And it's a free will universe. They have the right to that. Of course, it would be nice if we could all talk and share, and if we would all listen to one another. When people get the bit between their teeth, though, there's no talking to them. There's no presenting of anything that they're not ready to hear. So I beat my head against that wall, bloody, in the Air Force. Just trying to share what to me was so obvious and apparent. And I just knew that if I could just lay it out for someone and show them all the sides of it, that they could not help but agree. Not. Not. And so, it's a lesson. You learn it and you move on. And this is why I think a lot of wisdom is simply experience. And when we put our lifetimes together, my friends, we're living them all right now. If a lot of what seems to be wisdom is experience, the collective for just one person of wisdom is vast. Truly. We have so much to offer to each other and to the earth and to cosmos by waking up to the self. It's hard for me anymore to study to learn something. Someone gave me a name, the inventor of a healing modality. Let's see, what is it? Phineas? Oh, I lost the last name. I'll put it in the transcript. And he has a beautiful website where he has gone through this man's work and laid it out so lovingly, so beautifully, so that it's so different. His idea is that wisdom is the healer, and he apparently has many, many, and many healings to prove his point. I find that I follow heart, and I just don't merge anymore with learning something like that, much as I'd like to. So if Source will give me the understanding of this great man, that will be grand. Other than that, the only things I can pour myself into are things of heart, or things that resonate with this heart. There are no rules. There are no generalizations that will apply, which kind of makes it funny, us looking to others to complete the self, to wake up. It's all within. It's all within. Oh, goody. Here comes Cuddles. The one you'll never see if you come to visit. He has been known to hide for days when I had company. And I assume he comes out at night to eat because he likes his food. He's the only one of my 3 pets that causes me to have to pick up the dishes and not leave them out. The dog and the other cat will not overeat. And I don't suppose he thinks he's overeating, but he is tubby. So that's no good, and it's hard on the joints and so on. So, we don't serve anyone or anything by helping them to be overweight. Now, I think I'll close with this one odd thing. I say everything is good. I say everything blesses, even the difficulties. And usually people can recognize and accept this, because that's why we say hindsight is 20/20. When we look back, we realize the beauty that was interwoven and the change that came about that probably couldn't have come about any other way had not X, Y, or Z, crossed our path. And so, I don't know if this is beneficial, but here's my way of thinking on it. Even if there were to be some great disaster, some solar something or another, that would make Earth unlivable, that too is fine. My guess is that we would be well enough along in our ascension work that we would be converted to light body and not be harmed. Or not, of course. It's just that you're much more in charge of laying out your own set of beliefs than maybe you realize. And I think anyone who spends a significant amount of time in meditation or in heart, or however you want to say it, is going to taste that empowerment. We're shown. We're guided. both directly by what we're given to know and understand, and indirectly by the events in our lives. It is possible to completely rely upon heart, source, God, Allah, call it what you will. And there's a lot of misunderstanding in the world about such things, as for instance, India with all the images of the gods and goddesses. I guess this is Hinduism. They still worship the one God. These are just manifestations of that. And so they took the joy in the individuality of the manifestations of that one. And so any time and for any reason we look on our fellow creatures, beings, with a negative light, honey, that negativity is in you. Okay? It is possible to look on life just as it is here on earth today, with eyes of only love. And the mind will say you're nuts. Well, are you ready, willing, and mature enough to take that walk? Is it the one you desire? I guess that's the big question. Okay, all over the map once again. Guess I'll leave it at that. See you again soon. Namaste.